Thanks very much. You're listening to Jon Richardson on Six Music, hilariously pretending that the applause at the end of Supergrass was for me, but of course it isn't. Welcome along, it's Sunday morning, it's 10 o'clock. I will be talking to you for the next 3 hours, trying to make you laugh, despite the fact I'm a little bit depressed because Leeds United were relegated yesterday. Football has therefore died, but I think it'll be alright. You can join in at any point, as per usual, 64046, russell.6music at bbc.co.uk. We'll be chatting about the usual stuff. We'll do Am I Normal? We'll have my 100% belter. We'll chat about the news, and we'll chat with my guest today. I'm not just delighted, and I'm not just thrilled. I'm thrilled and delighted to say that I'm joined by Michael
Classic
McIntyre.
Combination.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Hi, Michael.
Do you not get your own email address?
No, I'm afraid not.
You have to sit with Russell's while he's away.
Yeah, but I think they would have perhaps put John, but John Holmes has John at Six Music.
Okay.
So I have to have Russell.6. It's quite embarrassing.
Does that upset you every time you say it? Just reminds you that this is a limited excitement.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about it.
It's a pleasure to be here, Mr. Richardson. I'm your biggest fan. I've always been your biggest fan. You do know that, don't you?
I know
tell
we
you
get
every
on.
time.
I know we get on.
Oh, well, I'm not sure
I
about
don't
that.
take praise very
but I know
well.
that I'm a big fan.
Oh, well, that's nice.
From the
I'm a
first
big
time
fan
I
of
saw
yours.
you. Well, it's so nice to be here and see you on the radio and everything. I'm sorry about Leeds. You're a Leeds fan.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't want to go into it because you inevitably get compared to Chris Moyles, which is never favourable. And the fans
But you're a
are
massive
horrible.
football fan. I mean,
Huge.
you know everything about football.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame that you, who's so deserving of a successful team,
Yeah.
should be. Isn't this the game that didn't it end and then they kept them back on? Isn't
Yeah,
that what
ended.
happened?
Well, it was about to end, and the Leeds fans got so angry that they forgot to think about what would be a good idea and what would be a bad idea, so they charged the pitch, and the game wasn't over yet.
So what was the score at that point?
It was 1-1 at that point.
And you needed to win the game to keep your hopes alive.
Yeah, well, in theory, we can still stay up if we win away at top of the league derby 9-0 next week.
Right, you see, I love it when things are mathematically possible.
Yeah.
And the managers always say that. They say, as long as it's still mathematically possible. They've always got a team of people behind with calculators going, it is still mathematically possible. But it never happens. So they storm the pitch.
They stormed the pitch, and I'm not sure what they were trying to do. I don't know if they were trying to attack the opposition, Ipswich
Right.
Town.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether they were trying to attack our own players or our own manager, or whether
Maybe they
they
were trying
just
to
got
play.
excited.
Because I've seen a clip, I don't know what game it was on, it was one of those classic What Happened Next, where, you know, that when they passed the ball on, like that goal in Euro 96, when, who was it against? Against Holland, when it kept coming across and they kept passing it, Gascoigne passed it across the line, I think Sheringham passed it, and then Shearer whacked it in at the end.
Oh, Shearer, great
It was one of
finish.
those clips, and it kept going across the line, and then a fan just ran on and left-footed it and hit the side netting. It was close. Hilarious.
I think
So maybe they were
everyone
trying
who goes
score.
to live football dreams that one day, even when I was 11, I kind of thought one day they'll go, oh, John, the right back hasn't turned up, and you appear to be wearing your strip.
Well, that's what I think that's fundamentally why people show up in their kit.
Yeah.
On the off chance that someone will just, we're short on numbers, and point to the crowd and get
Perhaps
some.
that's why hundreds of them charged the pitch, but they forgot it was football. They thought it was just running and swearing that we were
well,
doing
that
at the
they've
time.
got covered.
So what happens is that I get a guest in. Now, last week I had
That's
someone
me.
called... That's you.
Right,
well
okay,
done.
excellent.
That's safe. That's
Okay,
yours.
I've got that.
That's going nowhere.
3 hours!
3 hours.
And you set your stall out to be funny. I love that.
Yeah, well, there's usually a dip in the middle, to be honest. Now, usually, I had John in last week, and we said we can't have two Johns, so we invited listeners to pick a nickname for him. I vocalised this to you as an option.
Right. Who was in
earlier.
last week?
A guy called John Robbins.
Okay. Is this
Lovely
another person you
I
do
used to live with him.
Right. Because am I the first guest you've had on that you've never lived with?
Yes, you're the first person who doesn't have dirt
So
on
who
him.
have you had on?
I've had Mark Oliver,
Right.
and I have had John Robbins.
Okay.
This
so it's
week
only
I have
two.
you, and then next week I have Alan Carr.
Things are picking up.
Well, that's
then
not
dipping
for me
off.
to say.
So what do you want? You want to humiliate me, don't you?
Well, not really. I just want to invite listeners on
To
64046 to suggest a nickname.
Right.
But I just like the fact that they know nothing of you yet, and that
Yeah.
they'll pick a nickname. It might be really funny. John ended up with Touchy Balls McToot. I'm guessing you wouldn't stick with that.
No. Are you allowed to say things like that on a Sunday? You're losing listeners.
I'm losing the wrong listeners if they're not
Okay.
ready to hear about
All right.
touching of balls.
All right, fair play.
Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band. I want to reach out and grab you. Disgustingly, the first song played at Paul Daniels' wedding to Debbie McGee, I believe. That was a joke. You're sulking now because of this
listeners
nickname
probably
thing.
found it hilarious. We can't hear them.
No.
You've just got to take it on faith.
Yeah, well, I play 100% Belter in the last hour of the show, which is a song that I like, knowing that no one else will like it. And I learnt very quickly that you just got to just stick to your guns. And
I
if you
agree.
like a song,
And then people will come to you. I mean, Abracadabra was a song, I think it was the first song I ever really liked as a kid, and I vowed I would cover it one day.
oh really?
That's my vow.
Is that still the dream?
No, but I feel like I've got to fulfil it.
Because this
at
is the
some
place where
stage.
dreams come true.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We could have that recorded.
It's in the back of my mind at some stage. It's on my to-do list.
Right.
There's a lot on that list, but
Don't
somewhere
get me started
down
on
there
to-do list.
is cover Abracadabra. But obviously, there's much more important things like getting a home and whatever.
That sounds like one
Getting
of
the car fixed.
What's wrong with your car? Oh, I was very angry about
I've got a
your
real
car.
problem with the car. I've got a very, very odd situation. I basically, you've been in my car.
Yeah, I was disgusted because your car's really old and it still works.
It
And yet
still
I
works.
buy new cars and they break.
Yeah, well, you see, you never know with a car. So it's a good runner. People say that to me. They go, it's a good runner. And so I drove it down to my in-laws. And I think older generation, they really like to give younger generation males cars. I think that's just one of the things that men like to do. Fathers like to do it. Father-in-law, and he said, I would like to give you my car. The problem with his car is that it's also a very old car. It's like 125,000 miles both of the cars have done. And I just
And
said,
it's not a diesel, is it?
I said politely, he said it's a Mazda 626. He said they'll run and run and run. There isn't another one on the road. I've never seen another of this model because they've all now broken. It's the last one left. So what is all this running and running and running? So I said politely, I don't want the car, thank you very much. And then as I was pulling out to leave, my car didn't work.
Oh, dear.
So I had to get in his car, which didn't start. So this is a bad omen. I then had to use my car to give a jump start to the new car, which is now his car. So I'm currently driving this huge, big, boat-like Mazda, which is very depressing. Why did we start talking about this?
I believe you started it and then
Oh,
talked
right.
yourself out of the topic.
So I got this terribly big car.
Right, but you you drive in the middle lane as well, and I seem to remember we had a bit of an argument at 1 o'clock in the morning about people driving in the middle lane.
I
of
thought
the
you were on my
motorway.
side.
I'm always on your side. Oh, no, I wasn't. No.
It's at night time. I just think at night time, you should just you can drive wherever you like. If you want to drive in the slow lane, if you want to overtake in the slow lane, be my guest. I don't really mind. There's not enough cars on the road. It's those people who, regardless of the time, they keep coming out and then retreating back to the slow lane and then coming out a bit and coming back in. Just sit there, relax.
I think as soon as you start changing the laws of the road for temporal reasons,
Okay.
It's dusk, so you can have an inclination to being in the middle lane, but you should always veer back.
All
I
right.
think, that's...
Well, listen, we differ on that.
All right, then. Well,
But I do remember you agreeing with me, but that's probably because I was driving.
yeah,
home.
yeah. I will always agree with drivers, except taxi drivers, who you were saying that you get on really well with.
Yeah, not anymore. I don't talk to them anymore.
I
just
hate it.
feel sometimes I peak too much in taxis. I'm too funny in taxis and haircuts. So I've now decided, because you never know where it's going to take off. Sometimes a taxi driver can change your life. You can really get into a great conversation. This has never happened to you, has it?
No. Well, they've made me question what I do by the fact that we talk about comedy and they say, tell me a joke, and I say I haven't got one. And then that makes me feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
And then we discuss what sort of comedy I do, and then I realise that I'm probably not that funny, and they tell me Bernard Manning jokes.
And they're hilarious.
Well, they are quite funny, yeah.
Oh.
And I just think, maybe I'm doing it all wrong.
Well, I do. Yes.
And then I have a
I've
breakdown
thought
because
that
I think they'll give me a discount if I have a breakdown in their cab, and they don't. They just charge you more.
They don't talk to you. They talk to their sat-navs now. They argue with sat-navs. They get sat-navs and they just argue with them. They just don't take the advice. Their sat-nav will tell them where to go, and they just like...
Sat-navs
it's
in
wrong.
London?
Well, taxi drivers, because they know all the roads, they've got sat-navs in their brains. Then they get sat-navs, and then they just argue with them.
So does that mean the knowledge is no longer apparent in London if they've got sat-navs now?
I just think they have it as a backup. I think they just have it so that they can get annoyed, so that they can show off their knowledge. They just argue with them. They say, turn left, and they go, you can't turn this. What it doesn't take into account is time of day. They're all obsessed with the time of day. So they get very angry.
As are you.
What?
Time of day. That's how you decide where you're going to drive. We just discussed that. It's a callback. It's all wrapping up.
I don't remember anything in the past. Very difficult. Do you remember what you did yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, you watched two
cooked-
football matches
I
on one
cooked-
screen.
I cooked chicken in two different ways, and
Right.
I watched two football matches at once. Then I watched all the results come in between 3 and 5. Then I didn't
On what
answer
channel?
my
What do
phone.
you go for now with the results?
Soccer Saturday.
Right.
I just find
Is that on the one on Sky?
that's
Okay.
yeah.
You don't
yeah.
go with the BBC video printer.
No, I don't, because they put the results the wrong way up. The new
Right.
results, they come in at the top, and it's wrong. I can't get used to it. Whereas with Sky, they come in at the bottom.
Yes, okay. And then they shift it down.
And
and then you lose results off the bottom.
It's the wrong way around on BBC. And they get really, really... Carlton Palmer, no one cared what he thought when he was in football, and they certainly don't care what he thinks now.
It's strange how you get into punditry. But some of them are very good.
And Mark Lawrenson's a legend. He recorded a message for this show.
Well,
He's one of the fine... And I watched again yesterday. Have you seen the Stephen Gerrard documentary, A Year in My Life?
I think I've seen clips of it.
Oh, it's amazing. There's a bit where he does... he's in a really bad mood because they're talking about he has to do all these corporate events, so he has to go and film an advert with a kid, and they interview this kid, and they say, so you met Stephen Gerrard, was he nice? And this kid goes, not really. He were a bit mardy, which is just brilliant. He's only about
what?
6. Mardy.
What's that mean?
It's a northern term, so a sort of narky.
Oh, right.
A bit miserable.
So obviously you didn't have the final say on the edit.
I don't think
Keep that in!
I don't think that made it into the advert. He were a bit mardy. This little, already disillusioned with life at only 6 years old.
So what about this chicken? What are you cutting chicken for?
I did Cajun chicken drumsticks.
Is this for yourself? Were there other people eating?
No, I live on my own and I don't ever talk to anyone.
Right, okay.
Outside.
So it was for yourself?
Yeah.
Right.
This
is amazing, because most people, when they're eating on their own, they just don't take pride in cooking at all.
No.
They just get a ready meal and sit down and, put it in and eat it. They won't even put it on a plate.
High salt
They'll just
content.
half rip off the film.
Yeah. And
in
then
fact,
burn
sometimes
themselves.
they don't even cook it. They'll just lick it frozen. But you, and this is why I love you, you actually prepare Cajun chicken.
Cajun chicken drumsticks, and I used the thighs. I made a curry out of those.
Right.
Which actually
is this for
wasn't
later?
Very nice. No, I had them both yesterday because the drumsticks cooked quickly, so I nibbled on those with a bit of salad while I was sulking in my garden. Loads of people phoned me. When you're a Leeds United fan, because not many people are, especially in the south, your friends know you as the Leeds fan. So when anything Leeds United happens in the world, they all text you. So they were all phoning me yesterday, and I wasn't answering my phone.
Were they revelling in your disappointment, or were they being supportive?
Some were being nice. My mate Dave was very nice. He's a Chelsea fan, and he was saying, you'll be all right. But he likes Dennis Wise. But a lot of people were phoning just to make a miserable man more miserable. And my mum was one of the people who phoned, and I didn't answer my phone because I don't want to be grumpy when I talk to my mum, especially about something as, let's be honest, unimportant as football. It matters at the time, but I'm all right.
It is unimportant.
I'm fine.
Because when you win, it's no big deal. Because we want so much to win these major international tournaments, and then you see the people that win. As far as I can see, you just drive around with a flag for a few days, hooting. Just hooting and flag waving, and then your life carries on. It's not like we all benefit from victory. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we all get sent money in the post.
Well, I was thinking about this because I think you do. You have a memory of victory, a fond memory.
So you actually think of victories of Leeds. So when you think of Leeds, happiest days in your Leeds life, what happens in your mind and how much joy do you actually get?
I think of going to watch them as a child and hearing my first swear words shouted at strangers. I think of winning the league title in 1992. I think of my Leeds United... Howard Wilkinson, Gary McAllister, Tony Yeboah, all the big names. But I was thinking there was a cracking interview with Johnny Wilkinson on 5 Live this week, and he's an incredibly harsh... They were asking him, how do you feel when you watch back the video of the World Cup final, where you won it for England? And he's never watched it. And he said, if I ever watched a game back, I would watch one where I'd performed disgracefully badly, because you can learn far more from that. Imagine having achieved all he's achieved in rugby and still...
See, that's the thing. He's not enjoying any aspect of his success.
Yeah, but you have to sacrifice enjoyment for achievement, don't you, sometimes? It's no coincidence that the people who achieve the most are harshest.
Well, film directors say... I met Johnny Wilkins. I didn't meet him. I saw him once in a lift. The lift doors opened. And I don't know... Have you ever shared a lift with anyone particularly exciting in your life?
No.
Okay.
I saw Parkinson leaving this building last week. That was quite exciting.
you're at the BBC. That's going to happen. That doesn't count in the spotted section. You can't just say, I saw Parkinson in his place of work.
I never know whether we're colleagues now, and I can go,
you are colleagues, of course you are. But he's got a radio tune. He's got his own theme. That's where, you've made it. We've got your own theme tune.
The jingle.
Well, he's got his Parkinson music. He also has on his radio show.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Which he probably has on his doorbell. It's probably the ring on his mobile. He's got his own music assigned to him. So anyway, Johnny Wilkinson, so the lift doors open. I was in Wales, and they were playing at the Millennium Stadium, and it was just a lovely moment. And it was right after, he was hugely successful. I don't know if it was after the World Cup. But anyway, the lift doors open. It was just me and Johnny. And I stepped back to let him out of the lift, and I couldn't resist doing the Wilkinson conversion preparation. I stepped back twice, and I thought, I've got here, I might as well complete it. So I went once to the left and then crouched down sort of with my bottom sticking up in the air.
Did he laugh?
No,
not
at all.
Not like a taxi driver.
No.
Well, we'll
he
have
was
a track.
getting to his room to watch some of his more disappointing performances to inspire him.
But he'd be a stronger man as a result. We'll have a track. If there are any bands listening, we had a band in who were made entirely of single mothers the other week. If they want to write a Jon Richardson jingle to use on the show, then russell.6music@bbc.co.uk, get in touch. We'll create a jingle for me to use on the show. I'm joined in the studio by Michael McIntyre, who the only really nickname ones we had in were Debbie McGee. And someone, Captain Trouser Press, someone said. It's quite a nice nickname if you're going to have one.
What's that mean?
Nothing at all. Just people like trouser presses.
Isn't it?
Someone sent me in a picture of the Dyson Airblade hand dryer, which I've gone on about several times.
Why did they send you that picture?
Because I rant about the Dyson Airblade as the finest invention mankind has ever created.
Why?
It's a hand dryer that is astounding.
Would I have seen this? Is it standard?
Oh, no. If you don't know if you've seen it, you haven't seen it.
Is it one? Is it... Okay.
The day you see it, you'll know about it. You put your hands down inside it.
Yeah.
And then you lift your hands out without even touching them and they're dry. And the bonus about the Dyson Airblade, Michael, is that it doesn't just recirculate toilet air, so you're not getting other men's germs on your hands.
That's nice.
It purifies the air as it puts it through.
Good, because that's not good air.
No, that's
There's
not.
a lot of drama in the loo like that when you're thinking about... Like that whole thing with the taps. Because you turn the taps on with unwashed hands.
Yeah.
And then you wash your hands.
And then you have to turn them off again.
So the taps must be absolutely filthy. And then you're right, then you walk over to this, really the worst of air, being circulated back all over your hands. So it's then blowing all the filth. But you're telling me there's this Dyson, who's the Hoover guy, right?
Yeah, who we don't like.
We don't like him, but we do like him a bit, because if it wasn't for Dyson, you wouldn't be using the Airblade.
I like him for the Airblade, but for everything else, I disagree with his... He's one of these people who made a lot of money and then moved abroad because he didn't want to pay tax on the money that
so you don't like him for that?
No, I just disagree with that.
He's put a bit back in to the recycling of air. Sometimes I don't even know how to use the taps, though. Have you come across taps in public toilets where you got...
Not intentionally.
Where you just don't... You don't know how to use them. You don't know whether to wave your hand underneath. There's sensors. Sometimes you look for things, pedals.
The ones on trains are the ones. The pedal system
train,
for the tap on a train is the most pointless invention ever.
Well, you run out of water on the train as well. There's only a certain amount of water they can have on the train, and every time the train is delayed, and you're on a delayed train, it gets to the point where the loos just get absolutely appalling, where they won't flush because there's no water, the pedal won't work. Diabolical.
Yeah, they're terrible toilet trains, and I only like to go to the toilet on the train once it's been going for a little while, because I imagine that people sneak on the train at stations, hide, and wait until I go to the toilet and then steal my stuff. So I only go to the toilet when I know that the train's been moving a little while, but then you get into a station and you're trapped in there because you can't flush in a station. So you're trapped in there and you think, oh, someone's going in, they're going to sit in my seat, they're going to steal all my stuff. The train is...
Have you ever flushed in a station?
I think I have, yeah. I think I have. I think what I did is I got on at Paddington really needing the toilet, and I'm not paying 20p to use the toilet at a station, so I thought, well, I'll just get on the train.
I like paying to use the toilet.
Why?
Because there's a certain class of people in there.
People who have 20p.
Only people who can afford it.
The elite club of people who have 20p.
That's why I like the congestion charge. Sometimes I'll drive into London just to use a 20p loo. £8 to get in, 20p for the loo. You know there's a certain standard of people in there.
Why not just stay at home and use your own clean toilet?
It's a fair point.
Unless you're making derogatory comments about the people you live with.
I feel really uneasy about the word toilet now, since that didn't. They're saying that William dumped his girlfriend because her parents said toilet.
Oh, yeah, instead of bathroom or lavatory.
Loo. I think you're supposed to say loo. I don't know what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
It makes me feel uneasy every time.
I would say just say what you feel comfortable, and if you find yourself in a social group where you're worrying about what words to use,
I've never done that. But
yeah,
you know,
it's probably more a problem with your friends than you. Just get new friends who aren't. But I can't stand pernickety people.
Well, it's unbelievable. But the Queen is amongst them, quite obviously.
Yeah. Well, let's just never. Me and you. Let's never hang around with the Queen again. I'm sick of it.
I won't return any of her texts.
Andy sent in one of my favourite ever emails about hand dryers. He says, so you want to talk about hand dryers, do you? ? Frequently I do, Andy, yes. He says, have you ever used the ones in Broadmead in Bristol? Have you, Michael? They're free. You probably didn't use them.
No, but you're from Bristol.
I am from Bristol.
I'm not from Bristol.
So I have frequently
I don't go into places just to use the hand dryers.
But it's a very specific hand dryer problem. He says most hand dryers are there to assist you in the cleaning and drying of hands after the natural process of mid-shopping urination. Right?
Yes.
but not the ones in Broadmead. First, they want to give you soap, but you know they're going to squirt it onto your sleeve, so you try and slyly dip your hand in and then take it out, but they can sense that you're going to do that, so they wait until your coat sleeve's in the right position, and then they squirt you. Then they give you a tiny bit of water, which you use to dry your soap sleeve, then they give you half an hour to dry your hands, and he gets very angry, and then he starts using expletives, which I won't go into. But hand dryer's big business. People get very angry about. Good or bad hand dryer makes or breaks a toilet trip.
I don't like hand dryers. I just find they just take a little bit too much time. I like just a piece of cloth or something. No,
but that's not environmental.
You know what? The worst thing I've ever seen with a hand dryer was in my gym. I don't know how I can say this, but I saw somebody turn the nozzle to blow dry their
bits.
Yeah,
right.
The hair area.
Oh dear.
I mean, actually, so they had to actually thrust themselves around it in order to do that, and they were shaking themselves to get it dry like that.
Had they forgotten a towel?
I just think that they felt that, like you, they enjoy hand dryers and they think that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, well, I tell you what,
Which means if he was using the blade, he would have to put everything in.
Yeah, he'd have to climb inside it.
And then withdraw.
I would be tempted, if he did that with the accelerator, he wouldn't have any baggage left. It'd swing it round onto the... It's an incredible hand dryer, the accelerator. Well, this feeds perfectly into Am I Normal, which is the part of the show where you text in your compulsions, be they of hand dryers, be they of the way you eat, be they of any strange habit you have at all. So we'll have a track, and the email address for those is russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. The text number is 64046. Tell us you're weird, and we'll tell you you're not. You're laughing at the way I come off.
I love it when you do heart attack.
Yeah, there are many sentences that you'll hear on this show that this, for example, is a sentence that you'll hear me saying. I guarantee, if any other DJ in the history of radio has ever said this,
go on,
I will give you all my money. That was Heart Attack by Low vs Diamond. Check the Six Music website, and you can download my recipe for lentil roast, which I put up last week. There are recipes on this show, Michael.
I suppose I shouldn't knock the way you're saying music, because obviously the way I speak...
You can laugh at the way I talk.
Look at the way I talk. Yeah. I can't ask for music.
What a pair we are, you and I.
For dance music, and it was just so embarrassing. Do you have Liquid by Sweet Harmony, or something? That old one by the OT Quartet? I mean, it just sounds absolutely
I have such an urge to get my rocks off, you wouldn't believe. Well, we're getting a few... now, someone's texted in a lovely nickname, Mazda McIntyre.
That's very nice. It's got an alliteration.
Yeah, all right then. So we'll stick with that for now. You're listening to Jon Richardson and Mazda McIntyre.
Okay.
Well, Michael McIntyre.
I don't want my father-in-law's car, to define me for a moment longer. Also, the stereo doesn't work, so I'm listening to my iPod whilst driving. Is that bad?
Yeah.
Tell me why, because I feel I can still hear cars around me.
You can, but it's a distraction. It's two things in your ear, which physically is quite a distraction. And I think it's...
There's that advert that comes on the radio that says, can you do two things at once? Can you listen to two? And they're talking over each other.
Right.
I find it very distracting when I'm driving. Yeah. I've never been as distracted as listening to that advert by anything else going on in the car.
We chatted about driving. Someone emailed in, Claire emailed in, says, "Morning, guys. I'm very nervous today as my driving test is tomorrow, so please stop confusing me on lane position. Can you talk about something relaxing, e.g. clouds?" I haven't really got a lot to say about clouds, to be honest.
Cumulus. That's the only one I remember.
You bet. I would.
Clouds. You must have learned clouds in geography.
Cirrus.
There you go.
Stratus,
we're off. We're actually discussing them now.
Yeah. I don't really know much about them. I like the clouds that look like they're really low down. You know, sometimes you're on the train, you see a cloud that looks like it's about 10 metres off the ground. And it can't be. It's just that it's massive and it's miles away. But I like those.
I like flying through clouds.
Oh, that's great. Or being above them.
Because there's always turbulence in the clouds. I find above is boring. That's the boring bit. Don't you find it?
I'm happy. I can spend 3 hours above looking at the clouds thinking, surely if I jumped, I'd land on that. Surely that's like candy floss.
Right.
I can't imagine going.
Have you ever seen another plane from the plane?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you secretly hope it's going to come really close?
No, pretty much the opposite.
No, but I know you don't. I know. You don't really want that to happen, but just a little bit of you, just for a little bit of excitement.
I'm going to say now,
I'd love to be able to wave to somebody else.
If you kind of want to be in a plane crash, I'd say probably don't listen to your iPod when you're driving, because it sounds like you probably want to have a crash anyway. But good luck for your driving test, Claire. My advice would be, if you fail 3 times, just give up.
How did you pan out in your driving test?
I passed first time with 2 minors. neither of which count, because one was excessive caution. I was nervous. It was my driving test. And one was lack of control on the reverse park. But
Sorry, go through the minors again.
There were two. Excessive caution, because I had one opportunity.
Excessive caution is perfect for you.
Yeah.
Did you even start the car?
No. I just said, let's just chat, you and I.
Right.
I like your shirt.
Let's talk about hand dryers.
Yeah, oh.
All right, so excessive caution. I don't think that you should be... That's a minor fault, is it?
Not on your driving test.
Because when you're older, they have excessive caution. But you just sort of think that... Well, they say that women have a lot more caution than men, which is why they don't crash, which is why they have far less, accidents. Because caution is a good thing. You don't want to be reckless.
No.
You should be rewarded for excessive caution. If everyone was excessively cautious...
30 miles an hour on the motorway is very dangerous. Very dangerous.
You can be... My grandmother was pulled over for driving too slowly. Which is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Do they clock you? I don't know.
Do you have any idea how fast you were going back there, madam? 12 miles an hour. There was a kid who was pulled over on a wheelchair, an electric wheelchair. He was pulled over by the police.
Really?
Because the police didn't believe he was disabled. They assumed he'd stolen it.
Well, there's a guy called Nigel Mansell. He's actually called... That's his real name. He got pulled over with no identification.
Oh, dear.
And they arrested him because they thought he was taking the mickey.
Of course they did.
My grandmother used to drive so slowly that everyone would hoot. Because, everyone's in a rush, except for you, because you're excessively cautious.
Oh, I just set off 3 hours in advance as well.
Right, okay. So would you like, when you're going away, would you go to the airport? When are you...
I'm getting much better at airports.
Right.
But I get to airports early now for different reasons, because the airport is where they have the Dyson Airblade. Okay. Bristol Airport is where they have the Dyson Airblade, so I get there early just to go to the toilet twice.
But if you don't even need the loo...
Yeah, I wouldn't go and just sort of...
You don't go
mill about.
Because I've got to be honest, I don't know. I don't always dry my hands. I just think air dryer's enough, don't you? The only problem with air drying hands is when you have to meet someone soon afterwards. Or, you run into someone and shaking their hand with a moist hand. It's always like, because they understand the backstory. They know what's gone on with that hand in the recent past.
It's always the implication, isn't it, that you've weed on your hands when you shake someone's hand and it's wet. But the hand drying is crucial, Michael.
That wasn't the implication I was thinking of. I was just thinking that you'd been to the loo and then washed your hands.
No, I'd never...
So
let's be honest. Someone comes out of the toilet and you shake their hand and it's wet. The first thing you don't think is, oh, didn't dry your hands, eh? The first thing you think is, oh, God, get off me, never touch me again. I'm never seeing you again. That's disgusting.
All right.
But that's probably why I have fewer friends than I should have. So yeah, I'm getting better at airports, but I do get nervous about missing the flight. So I'm always there sort of an hour and a half before.
Oh, right, well, you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
2 hours before. You're late. They're closed boarding.
I just rock up now. Well, with
Some people do that. I don't trust those people. They're so relaxed about it.
I don't trust anyone at airports. Even when it's a little old woman behind me in the queue for baggage, I kind of think, the minute I turn my back, you're going to stick drugs up me, and then you're going to get me arrested. So I don't even trust anyone when it comes to flying. But Am I Normals? We'll read out a few. I believe you've got one there.
Oh, yeah, I've got one here. This is from a long-time listener, but a first-time emailer. And
always a good way to
people
start an email.
And, they feel they want to get involved. And finally...
Pop your cherry today on Six Music. 64046 russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
It's Oliver Suggett.
Nice.
He could be listening now, I hope he has. Now, when he's eating an Echo bar, and he's described it in brackets, this is 3 small... Are you familiar with the Echo bar?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
3 small chocolate biscuits with white, bubbly chocolate on top, coated in a thin layer of chocolate in 1 easy-to-eat bar. OK, that's the big sell and the description. This is what he has to do. I must gnaw away the outer layer of chocolate and scrape away the white chocolate, leaving 3 small rectangular biscuits. Then I eat them. And then, as a strange sentence, I do not... achieve by taking... This is a rushed email. He's built up many months. He's been planning on this.
Yeah.
Ruin it in the last sentence. I do not achieve by taking a small bite out of the chocolate while removing the chocolate. I get angry and am in a funk all day. Strange ending, but I think what he's saying here is he's got his own system for eating chocolate, which I think a lot of us do. I mean, the classic is the Jaffa cake, whereby somebody even put it online or something, hugely successful, taking off leaving the orange at the end.
I had a box of the lime Jaffa cakes again this week.
Lime?
Lime Jaffa cakes.
I've never gone lime. I didn't even know they had them.
It's 2007, Michael. It's about time you climbed on board.
Lime Jaffa cakes? The world changes so fast.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about them. I buy them every now and again, and I sort of keep giving them a go, and then I think, there's something not quite right about this. But I keep going them. Am I normal?
What I do is I put Maltesers in my mouth.
That's normal.
No, so far so good. And then I'll just wait. I wait until they start to be sort of dissolved, enzymes start to get to work, and then I just end up with this quite a nice, chocolatey, melted sensation.
I can't do that.
It requires patience.
I can't have anything in my mouth and not chew it. You know, people who can put a polo mint in their mouth and leave it until it's just like a tiny ring.
It's just pointless.
I can't do that. If it's in my mouth, I'm sorry, but I'm chewing on it. Someone's texted in about Dyson. Simon in Bristol. I thought Dyson moved production abroad. They made everyone in Malmesbury redundant. And I boycott their gear. The same with Burberry. Stuart says, John, if you don't want to pay 20p to use the loo at Paddington, you can go up to the pub at the station and use their toilets for free. But you can't, because they lock it. That's the thing I hate about London. That everywhere has locked toilets. Even McDonald's and Burger King and all the big places have locked toilets. That's your right, is to go to the toilet in McDonald's. If you're going to take over the world, you have to provide toilet facilities. That's the agreement.
They lock the toilets?
In McDonald's, you have to ask to get into the toilets at McDonald's.
Oh, I nipped in the other day.
During the day, you're all right, but at night
I've only been in to use the loo in McDonald's for I haven't eaten at McDonald's in 10 years.
But you're
I've
Michael
used the loo
McIntyre.
several times.
You're Michael McIntyre.
They never spot you. Only when you need the loo, like in a pub, and you just want to use the loo in what is a public house, and they won't let you in unless you have a drink. It's the last thing I want is a drink. The whole point is I'm filled with liquid.
Opposite.
Why would I want to have a drink, you fool? It's just going to make it worse. I'm going to explode if I have a drink.
My problem is, what if you legitimately don't mind buying a drink to use the toilet, but you're so desperate for the toilet? Like, sometimes I'll go in and I'll go, I'm going to have a drink and go to the toilet, but I have to go to the toilet first. I'm going to wee all over your bar. But then they go, oh... You've
got to have a drink first?
Yeah.
It's like, this is insane.
Then you go, we'll start pulling
Do you know what
it.
I say, hand me an empty glass. We'll see what happens.
Do you?
No.
Oh, you should do
I just thought of it then.
I like the idea of confrontational people, because I would just wet myself then. Right, am I normals? I'm not a consumer, am I normal? Someone's texted in.
Is that it?
Yeah.
A consumer?
It's one of those random ones.
So I'm not... Can we just think about this for a second?
Yeah.
I'm not a consumer.
I am not a consumer.
So what does that mean? What do they do?
They either don't eat or they don't buy.
They probably don't eat.
You've made me realise I was eating crisps. Oh dear. Right, that one's about poo for some reason. My girlfriend Caroline. I've had a page of text messages in that all seem to be the end of text messages. So they all start with text. All right, then read your
my one. You gave it to me.
Yeah, if it makes sense.
Oh, I think this is brilliant in this "Am I Normal" thing, which is a lovely idea.
It is really a good feature, isn't it?
But do you never really answer them? You never say whether they are. Are you just saying that everyone's normal? It's all right.
Well, they started with me doing mine, and then mine got so extreme that people realised I'm just the arbiter of madness. Things like putting all your coins in your pocket in ascending size order and then putting them back. Everything.
Are you actually obsessive compulsive?
I think mildly.
Right.
Since I've moved into a house from a flat, I lose a lot of time now making sure things are locked. In the past, there was only the one door. Now I've got front door, patio door, or window locks. I've got to check they're all locked. All the doors within the house always have to be shut.
Yeah.
But I can't have doors ajar.
Why are you so upset about McDonald's locking their loos? This would be heaven for you.
But I don't invite people into my house and then deprive them of the chance to use the toilet.
Right. So
I lose...
Okay. Is it all right? Does it get you down? I mean,
It doesn't get me down. It just wastes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I lose a lot of time.
With the locks.
But I'm sort of content. There's nothing makes me happier than being sat right in the middle of the settee, facing the TV, square on.
Face the TV.
With your remote controls, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, big one on the inside, small one on the outside.
What are you controlling? How many TVs have you got? You've got 4 televisions.
Oh, it's 2007. I've got one for my robot who brings me lime Jaffa cakes.
Excellent.
I've got DVD, I've got satellite, I've got the TV, and I've got the VCR.
That's a lot going on there. You probably don't need the VCR, but that's okay. What TV are you watching currently? Not the programmes, the actual TV, the television.
Oh, right. It's not one of these trendy flat screen ones.
I just bought one.
Right. How's it working out?
It makes me a bit tense.
Right.
I just keep worrying my baby's going to hit it or it's going to stop working.
Oh, yeah, baby. You've got a baby.
The picture's not... It's not fantastic. Basically, what happens is you have to sit quite further away now. So you end up with sort of the same size TV you always have. The difference is now I'm watching it in the corner of the room against the wall because you can't sit right up close because it goes a bit weird. It sort of pixelates a little bit.
Right.
But it's okay. I mean, I love it. It looks fantastic.
I don't understand HD. It makes me nervous.
No, but I phoned them up about it, and I said, look, what's this HD? Give me some of that. And apparently it's £300 for this HD box. That's a huge sum of money. I don't even know what it's going to look like. So
I don't understand.
Can we just ask your listeners if anyone is it worth it?
64046 text in if you've got HD.
Is it worth £300 to see the picture slightly sharper?
I think a lot of people are HD ready, but I don't think they have it.
So ready for
You're
HD.
HD gagging. You are.
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm gagging. My TV says ready. I go along with that. I'm HD ready, but as soon as it's cheaper,
Can you not just turn up the colour button on your TVs? That's not all it does, because I've seen the Sky adverts for it, and basically everything just looks too bright. And I think if I had HD, I would end up just turning the contrast down anyway.
Well, because it makes it too... You know, when you're in the cinema and you see... You know, the picture's fantastic. And you actually see sort of blemishes and blackheads on people's faces. You know, I don't think I want to see that. I like a little bit of a blurriness. I'm just happy with my big picture. You know what I mean? I'm happy with it. Let me read this thing, because it's really funny. I really liked it.
Okay.
This is from... I think it's from somebody called Evil. EVEL.
Oh, yeah, we get evil texts in.
Is that a person? Evil?
Yeah.
All right,
one of our regular listeners.
Evil
Yeah.
has texted in. I work in a factory some miles from my house. I drive home, and my drive home takes me past my two mates' house, and every time I go past, I always look to see if they are in. This is always futile as, number one, the house is their parents, and they are currently up in York, so he knows they're not there. Number two, they haven't got cars. Number three, their rooms are at the back, so he wouldn't even be able to see them. And number four, if they come back to visit their folks, they'd ring him. They would have let him know.
But what if they
yet,
don't?
I find my neck muscles involuntarily looking at the house every day, and then I tell myself not to be stupid. Am I normal? I love that one.
Right.
He's being controlled, turning his head like the Terminator, looking in. Like you do, to be honest, when you... I don't know if you do this. You see limousines, and you know they've got the glass, which has been created so that you can't see in. But you still look in. You're still trying to see whether you can break the seal and actually see it. So I think that's hilarious.
That's in case there's someone famous and they lower the window because they can see you. I always think, what if they see me?
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, you look cool. Do you want to come out for some drinks?"
Do you want to join me and my... chicks?
Yeah, if it's like Kasabian or someone, and you just say, "All right, guys."
Oh, it's Jon Richardson. Look, we've got the Dyson drive in the limo.
Oh, well, that would be too much, to be honest.
Grab a remote and join us.
I couldn't go in there. Once you go in that limousine, you can't climb back into a Ford Fiesta after that, to be honest. That's the end of your life there. Am I normal, Callum? I've had some odd dreams this week. I dreamt I was on the show as your guest. I mean, you know how that feels now, Michael. Leo in Hove. Am I normal? I must take shoes with me when I go abroad. Fairly normal, I would have said. But it's not just flip-flops, proper shoes or trainers, just in case I need to escape from somewhere or do ninja kicks. You're going to the wrong places on holiday, first and foremost, but I prefer shoes. One of the things I hate about the summer, and we discussed this midweek, two things. People wearing open-toed shoes, I'm not a fan of.
You're not a fan of toes?
I just don't like the idea of people walking around in society with all the gunk and grime going in their feet. And then always, people who wear open-toed shoes, when they get into a pub, they take them off and put their feet up on the settee.
Yeah.
And all the scum from society goes onto the chair, and then innocent people like me sit in the chair, and now I'm covered in scum.
This is back to the OCD thing, but what I do like is the prospect of open top shoes.
Yeah.
The fact that you can turn a normal shoe in the winter time, and if the temperatures pick up, you can actually sort of like a convertible shoe. That'd be lovely, you know, when you have to sit and then it reveals your toes.
Yeah.
I quite like the converting shoe, but I know what you're saying. But I think this is all just wrapped up in your...
I went for some drinks with some friends last week, and one of them was wearing open-toed shoes.
Yeah.
And then took them off and said, "Look at this. This is amazing." And I thought, here we go, I'm going to see a Veruca or something. But on the bottom of his shoe, he had a ring pull for opening bottles. And he went, "Isn't that amazing?" And
Are you serious?
Now you can stand in dog muck, chewing gum and filth, and then smear it all over the top of a beer.
Was it an actual bottle opener?
It'd been built into the shoe. It was a marketing thing in the shoe, that in the bottom of it had a ring pull, so you can open people's beers. Just a ridiculous invention.
I draw the line there. Even without I don't have mild OCD, and that is enough. Enough's enough.
It's
you
just
can't
ridiculous.
be sitting around using your shoes. Does it double? Does it cutlery as well? Is there a little fork that comes out?
Yeah, well,
Chopsticks?
someone came up with that and didn't get fired. And probably in the same meeting, I've come up with this idea for, like, boxer shorts with a little pouch in that you can keep pies in, like underpant pies. And they should have just gone, I see where you're coming from with that, Terry. You're fired. Don't ever come back.
That's it.
There's a reason people don't eat stuff that's been near their body. Rank. And the other thing about summer, of course, is wasps. Wasps are scum.
Well, I told you that I've had 2 wasps so far in the flat, and they've both been led to disasters. Because you really don't want to enrage a wasp, because obviously it will attack you, and it can keep attacking you. Unlike the bee, which only has 1 sting, and then it's suicide. It must hate you so much that it will have to sacrifice its life to hurt you just a little bit. The wasp doesn't care; it'll keep coming. So the wasp was nestled. I followed it round. I took a magazine. I didn't go newspaper because I don't think it's quite solid enough. I think I got my wife's Heat magazine, rolled it up, and there it was on the window, and I gave it everything I've got and smashed the window. I smashed my window in my front room. And I still haven't had it. I'm too depressed about it because I phoned up glaziers. It's going to cost me over £100
Oh, dear.
for this wasp death.
And the wasp is laughing at you.
Well, no, the wasp is dead. Actually, the worst thing about it is that the wasp actually might not have been in the flat after all, because it was
outside.
It was actually behind a curtain, and it was magnifying it so it looked like a huge killer wasp. And then I just whacked it through the curtain. So there's every chance that I killed the wasp that was outside with the glass that I smashed. It's unnecessary.
So you're having to go at bees for being suicidal in their murder when somewhere there are wasps going, you know those Michael McIntyres? They get so angry about wasps that they will break their house to get to you
in order to
kill you. I hate wasps. I'm violently frightened of them because I've never been stung. But the horrible thing about
spray them?
No, I can't be that near to them. I can't. If you engage in war, there's always going to be a loser. Whereas what I'll do is I'll wear every item of clothing I own, and then I'll go into the room and open a window, and then I'll just move house.
For protection?
Yeah.
All right, but what about your face?
I've got I'll wrap a tea towel around my face.
Okay. It's a lovely image.
Yeah. I really
Because my wife
them.
won't let me buy spray for them. She thinks it's dangerous and toxic, and so she uses deodorant. And that's how the second wasp death came about.
Right.
I used an entire canister. Is that right?
No.
What's it called?
You don't want to be using Caniston on a wasp, not unless it's rubbing its hind legs together.
An entire
Canister.
Canister.
Yeah,
What's a
Caniston is treatment for a lady's ailment.
Is that really?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. If it was a queen bee, you might have been doing her a favour. Yeah.
To be honest. Because the deodorant did nothing.
Yeah.
They just looked at me like, are you insane? Why? This is not doing anything. It stopped it from taking off, but it didn't do any harm. Then I grabbed a bottle of bottled water and poured that all over it, which just went all over the sofa. It's hard. I really freak out. Once I set fire to a sofa when I used to smoke, and I grabbed a bottle of red wine, and that's how I put it out. I poured it all over. I ruined the sofa. But you just freak out because you just think this is going to be. Have you ever set a fire in the house?
No.
Good.
I'm very, very safety conscious. I did it when I was a chef once. I did in the restaurant. Right. I got a bit carried away with the old flambeing.
Yeah.
And I had to take a pan out into a garden full of people who were trying to enjoy their lunch.
To know what to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you think you've got to, you just.
Well,
don't
initially
know how
you
you're
think,
gonna
well, I'll scream. That'll help. And then I'll sort of look around and see if anyone else is going to deal with it for me. And then I'll just take it outside. And they're hot, aren't they? Flames are hot.
Fire.
You don't realise how hot fire is.
Nothing's hotter.
Yeah.
Bloody hot.
Steam is hot.
Fire.
Steam is worse than hot water. Now, Michael, you asked me earlier who listens to this show, and I said lots of different kind of people, but people who know stuff, I said. And sure enough, Matt in Somerset. Out of the 1,000 or so species in the British Isles of bees, only one type will actually die from stinging you. It's an urban myth.
Oh.
Yeah, shocking. We were talking about urban legends last week, but they were stories about poos in bags. It was slightly lowbrow, I'll be honest.
How does this urban myth carry on?
I don't know, maybe the bees are spreading. Maybe bees sting you and then sort of lie down for a bit, and then when they see you've gone, they buzz off.
That's nice.
Yeah. Am I normal? When I was a child, I used to like sniffing my scabs while they were healing. I can't do it too much these days as I tend not to fall over as much as I used to. Diane from Leeds. May I recommend alcoholism? and then a thing about football, but we had so many emails in going, oh, God, talking about football, are you? 25 weeks we've been doing this show. I love football. I've never mentioned it. This is the first time, and people still get in a rage. I have a sign on my front door, someone says, that says no free papers and no wasps. Am I normal, Emma? If a woman is taller than me, I get really irritated. I am 5'8", and if I see another woman taller than me, I have to look at their shoes to see if they're cheating by wearing heels, says Emma. Have you got any Am I normals, Michael? You're engrossed in one.
Can I take issue with your lime Jaffa cakes? It is wrong.
Right.
That's not an Am I normal? I have a strong belief that brand names... You've given me this as an Am I normal?
There's one on top.
Oh, is that it? Okay, it's quite... Hello, radio.
Hi.
Not even a name check.
All right.
Although the one below called you Russell, which I'm livid about.
Yeah.
Hello, radio.
Well,
when driving, especially when alone at night, I like to imagine people from a bygone era have been transported forward in time, and I'm showing them around. I relish using all the different bits of the car. I turn the headlights on with a flourish, zip down lanes feeling the sense of awe from the wide-eyed, imaginary passengers at the awesome acceleration. I've got a crappy car without much gadgetry, but my newfound friends don't know that. They ooh and ah as I turn on wipers, switch on the radio and indicate. All with the practiced, anticipation-inducing timing of a master magician. Am I normal? No.
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 You see, every now and again we get one in where that you just have to say no. Once you've created an entire
about people
world.
like that on the road.
Yeah, well, she's not paying attention. They'd be flabbergasted by your iPod.
That person's near to sleep. It's when you start... That's a dreamlike state, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is it, the signs they have on to tell you not to...
Tiredness can kill.
That's
Take
quite
a break.
threatening, isn't it? Take a
Yeah, but
break.
so can reading signs that threaten you by the time you get distracted.
I was in Ireland last week, and they've got all these signs up on every single road that tell you how many people have died on the road.
Mm.
That's very negative.
Well, it's like a target, isn't
It
it?
just makes you very, very tense, and then you feel like you've made it. And I mean, you know, how are they dying? These people. Are there
You want more
landmines
details.
on the road? Are there people throwing things at you? Snipers in bushes? And then you turn off and you think you've made it. There's another sign announcing, or seriously injured. They broaden it as well.
Right.
People aren't just dying. In fact, as you drive into Nottingham, there's a sign that says the number of people have died on this road so far this year. So it's so far implies they expect
that's
more.
nice.
And this is after 15 sort of minutes before that. It says, "Welcome to Nottingham, Robin Hood country." And you get really excited. Then it tells you all these people are dying here. Threatening.
Not Robin Hood, though. We should stress it's not Robin Hood.
It's not Robin Hood
people.
killing the people.
He stole, but he did not kill. The safety features on the roads are often the most dangerous things because I have to blink when I drive over a chevron, and you know that's distracting as well.
That's one of your things.
It's one of my many things, yeah. If I go over a chevron, you've got to blink, haven't you?
What are chevrons? I mean, I know what they are, but why have we gone for the chevron
I don't know.
to separate us on the roads?
As opposed to the dot.
Do you do what it asks? Do you slow down and go, okay, keep two?
Well, I do, but all that means is people cut you up and go into your gap. So if you keep slowing down to leave a gap, it means you basically just pull over and stop.
What you're saying that you separate yourselves two chevrons apart, and then that leaves a chevron open for people to jump into.
Other people who get right up behind the person in the middle lane think, well, here's a chance for me to undertake with the gap that John's left. I'll nip into that. And then I've been getting really angry. I've used my horn more in the last few weeks than I have.
But
I think it's the summer's winding me up.
Pointless?
It is. Oh, I saw something crazy the other day. I saw a trucker, like, really just holding his horn. He held it for about 2 minutes.
Oh, the horn
and then he leant out of the window and,
Because I've never in my life, to be honest, I've never gone beyond the sort of ninja beep that just really, boop, just to let you know, just speed up, make sure it's gone green. I don't mean any threat to you, but as soon as you hold on, the longer, the more malice.
You'll do that once, and then that's it. Then it's you
then you think I'll be off.
You break your seal once you do that for the first time. After that, you're a very angry man. Right, we'll wrap up a few Am I Normals. Am I normal? When I was a child, I used to like slip my scabs. We've done that. John, I particularly hate blokes who wear open sandals with no socks. Tim in Cheltenham, completely agree.
I hate them more when they've got socks and sandals. Are you kidding?
No. So that's a gesture. That says society is dirty. I'll wear socks. HD. There aren't enough HD broadcasts, yes, apparently, to make the £300 worth spending. But Blu-ray or HD pictures look magic on an HD screen. And someone says HD will be amazing when there are more channels. It looks stunning, mate. I'm calling you mate there. Only about 5 channels in HD, though, at the mo. When more, it'll be awesome. So,
and does it match the standard of the television? You don't have the answer. He's not here, is it, this guy?
No, it's just a text. But, once you get HD, you start saying things like awesome and mate.
So can I just ask him if he can get back in touch?
Right.
All televisions, if they are HD ready, will they all produce, no matter how much you paid for them, produce the same glorious picture of which you speak?
Get in touch urgently, 64046. I'm joined in the studio, delighted to say, by Michael McIntyre, currently taking a picture of me on a phone.
I've actually got it on the wrong setting. I'm filming you.
Oh, are you? Right, well, that's a copyright violation there. I'm afraid we're going to have a meeting
Yeah, anyone
after this.
filming you at gigs yet?
Yes.
They do that.
Yes.
The youths.
Only at rubbish ones as well.
It's always at really bad gigs. Do you just carry on, or do you just...
Well, you have to, because you look like a real prima donna if you go, excuse me, guys.
I know, but I did it the other day, and I felt like that, and I could feel... I heard a mumbling, and I definitely heard the word prima donna.
Yeah.
Prima donna.
Well,
that definitely came up.
Your material's your livelihood. And I really object to the YouTube generation of watching stuff on the internet and completely oblivious to the fact that you've missed it when it was happening live.
Yeah, but it's okay, because the fact is, people can share it, and it's only going to be positive. I think the people with just like not enough material, they struggle. Just a little bit, because if you've only got a few jokes and it's suddenly all out there, you feel like,
well, you and I both enjoy a chat with the audience, so we
have no material, as you find out in taxis when they go, tell us a joke then, and you actually think, I don't actually have a joke.
That's a very good point. Yeah, well, they're the hardest gigs, the one-on-ones.
So I was just speaking to my wife. She really likes you.
Oh, that's very nice. I've never met her.
She wanted a photo, so she can put a face to the voice.
Right.
Do the listeners know what you look like? Are you online?
There's a webcam. There's one up there and there's one up there. So you're on the... people are watching you now, Michael. You're being watched.
That means that people saw me steal one of those shortcakes when you all
you stole the caramel shortcakes. Now we get onto it.
Oh, no!
You've been rumbled.
I've been rumbled.
It's all kicking off in the studio. We've got demonstrations of what's happening.
Are there people watching on webcam?
Some people sometimes look in and they try and scare you.
If anyone saw me stealing the shortcake, please get in touch. Because, you'd like to know the people out there.
Yeah. And I'd like to think that my listeners would protect my caramel shortcakes when I go out to make you a cup of Earl Grey tea and bring me one too, when you were sniffling through my snacked goods.
That you thought that you would return to your desk and be inundated with, you can't trust this Mazda Mac.
This McIntyre, he's stealing your pastry goods.
Mazda driver.
Well, no one's emailed in on that, so you've got away with it, but you rumbled yourself.
No, I did. Well, because I knew that there was video evidence against me. And I thought it was better to come clean at this stage.
Always the best policy.
Okay, but I have to say, really tasty. Really tasty and not excessively sweet.
Right.
Because sometimes they can be just too much. I mean, you're involving caramel there, and shortbread, and
chocolate.
And chocolate. That's quite a lot. But it's actually deceptively light.
I always bring in snacks for 11s, and then I leave some behind for the people who do the music week, which starts at 1 o'clock. And today they're doing an interview with Damon Albarn.
Is he coming in?
They're speaking to someone who's at the festival in the desert, which is called I've completely forgotten what it's called. Coachella, yeah. It's a festival in a desert, and they're talking to someone who's there, and Damon Albarn and Pete Townsend, all starting at 1 o'clock. But let's get back to our show and our listeners. Dear John, if you're afraid of wasps and haven't yet been stung, you can cure your fear by getting stung. You see, the flaw in the plan is that I don't want to get stung. That's the whole point. Your wasp-related fear is fear of the unknown rather than a genuine fear of the pain involved. It doesn't hurt that much. I've been stung by a weaverfish, and that really hurt.
A weaverfish?
Yeah,
they're quite predominant in summertime?
In Cornwall it was.
Right.
They hide on the bottom of the sea, and then you stand on them and they sting you. But I'm just worried. It's not that it's going to hurt a lot. It's just that I've never been stung. What if I'm allergic to it and my face swells up and I die?
Well, there is a place on the body... In your neck, isn't this true? If they sting you in a certain place, obviously they've got a lot of places to work. It's a needle and egg, but there is a point on your body that you can be unlucky enough that will swell up. And I'm saying this kind of stuff as if I know what I'm talking about.
Well,
what
someone
I keep
will text in.
is that there are people listening and they're going, he knows nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know that it is an urban myth? That as far as I'm aware, that a wasp can sting you on your neck or something, and that's it. You'll swell up and you won't be able to breathe, and it's all a disaster.
Yeah, and the wasps are laughing. Right, we've got some more Am I Normals. We spoke to Russell Howard on the phone. There's a problem with his phone, but we got through to him, and he is he's doing his gig now. It's his last gig at the Melbourne Festival, and then he's touring Australia, and we're going to talk to him at the end of the show after he's done his Melbourne gig, and he'll be all sweaty and high on life, and we'll have a lovely chat. And then that'll be the end of this week's show. But am I normal? Sometimes I imagine that cars do not actually move using conventional combination of engine gears and axles, but are propelled forward by the gases emitted from the exhaust pipe, rather like a pathetic jet engine. Mars of St Ives, I got all excited, and this says that's the Cambridgeshire one, not the Cornwall one. The second St Ives, then, really, isn't it?
That's not about being normal. That's just not really understanding.
No, how cars. I think it's more. I think they know that isn't the case, though.
Right.
I sometimes pretend that I'm not walking. I'm pulling myself along. You know, the natural swing of your arms.
Yeah.
Sometimes you come across like a gap in the pavement. I'll pretend I grab onto it.
Have you ever been naturally swinging your arms? This has happened twice in my life, and somebody else is naturally swinging their arms, and it actually coincides to the point where you hold hands.
Oh, I've never done that.
Oh, I have. I did it in Edinburgh, and I actually ended up holding hands with a woman who then accused me of doing it on purpose, as if I was hitting on her. She was like, I mean, to be honest, I think she would have been quite lucky if I was hitting her. not that I have a high opinion of myself, but this was an ageing woman,
right?
And she sort of, get off me, pal! And it's like, hang on a minute, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
But it was just exactly that moment in time. Well, you have to look forward to it.
And that should be quite a nice moment when you're skipping along with
because
someone.
Because you cling on as well. Because you're so used to it, and then you just sort of combined and clinged on. It was just this moment in time. If life was paused, I would have been just holding hands with this stranger in Edinburgh.
If you'd have been papped at that, if there'd been a webcam then, your wife would have had words to say.
Because it's very hard to walk without swinging your arms. It's like running. I hate to bring it back to football, but you know when the physio runs on, because he's got to hold sometimes 2 bags, you have to run without your arms, and it looks hilarious, the no-armed run.
It's the best way of running. This is a tip I worked out as a child. If you're running with a cup of water and you don't want to spill it, if you lower your centre of gravity and run kind of like an ostrich, you'll find that it's very easy to achieve quite high speed, but you won't spill any of your drink.
Why would you be running with water?
Well, if you've got a cup of water, if you've set fire to your settee and you're trying to get in quickly with the red wine, but you think if I spill it all by the time I get to the settee...
Right, so you ostrich run, low centre of gravity.
Just lower the centre of gravity.
Because marathon runners, they can't cope with the running with water either. They just immediately pour it on their heads.
Yeah.
They just panic. They just
Did you do
freak
the
out.
marathon?
Of course I did the marathon.
Twice.
I did it twice.
Right.
Yeah. Don't you love it when people run the marathon, they're still running it, like, into the next week? Because it's like the last one finishes on, like, Thursday.
Well, the guy did that Indiana Jones thing where he had a massive ball behind him. Did you see that?
No.
He ran it as Indiana Jones escaping from that massive ball in the Temple of Doom.
So he was pulling along a ball?
Yeah, a huge ball. What an idiot. Hello, Michael. If you think the road death signs in Ireland are bad, try Northern Ireland for road safety ads. They're brutal. Even the people wearing the seatbelts go through the window. You get these nihilistic gore fests, and then a camp fellow comes on to introduce Coronation Street.
What are they telling you? That even if you wear a seatbelt, you're probably going to die on the road.
You are going to die tomorrow.
Do you think he's kidding?
It sounds fairly serious, and there's a few people in New Zealand and Australia, road signs say tiredness can kill, have a power nap. And also they have signs for road death tolls. Right. Tells you how many days since the last fatality, and if there have been none, there's a smiley face.
Do you think they'll soon have them, like, electronic, so they can update them immediately as soon as from the hospital? They'll just send the stats straight over.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but
How
it's a serious business driving. How often are they? Do you know the Matrix signs that tell you to slow down? The Matrices, they work it out themselves. The machines know how fast to tell you to go, and they know when there's been an accident. I thought it was a man in an office.
In I don't know where it was.
A car?
Somewhere in London. I was in a car at the time. And what they do is they tell your speed, and they're very bright, aren't they, when they say slow down. It's quite pretty. You almost want to speed up just to see it. Yeah. There's one that doesn't tell you to slow down, it just tells you your speed. And all that does is just encourages you. I went round the block to see how high I could get it. It's quite fun.
Yeah, I think you've missed the point.
I know.
But I don't understand those. And they always get it wrong as well. Your speed is...
Do you know your sat-nav tells you your speed? Have you got it on that setting?
Yeah, but again, that's slightly wrong.
It flashes in red when you're going...
Because I've driven along with people who are doing like 80 and their TomTom says they're doing like 72 and you go, but you and I both know how fast you're going. They go, well, the machine says... You know...
You don't know which one to believe.
Shouldn't drive with people who talk like that, to be honest. On wasps as well, while we're travelling the globe telling tales of misery, in France they have giant wasps, 4 or 5 times bigger than ours.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Let's say yes.
I've been to France. I've never seen a 5 times bigger than ours wasp. I think I'd never go back. They try and get in the room at night and bang against your shutters. One got into the dining room when we were all having a quiet lunch. People were screaming. I got my mother-in-law's shoe, and as it hovered by the wall, I landed a perfect hit. There was so much blood it looked like I'd killed a small rat. Lovely stuff. I saw a rat on the tube this morning, and I was walking along, looking at all the posters, poster, then a Perspex box with no poster in it, and I was nervous. I thought, well, this is probably terrorism, or maybe it's the earthquake, and I was going to press the panic button, but luckily there was a sticker on it saying, awaiting poster.
Brilliant.
Someone's job it is to make stickers that say awaiting poster and travel around putting them places where there aren't posters. London, eh? Why would you live here? You live here, do you like it?
I do like it. I live in North London.
Right.
People always want to know whereabouts.
Oh, Arsenal are playing today, so that'll be North London. I've got to drive to Hull after this. I'm going round the M25. I'm not getting involved in it.
What are you doing in Hull?
Oh, God. It's Hull that relegated Leeds yesterday, and now I have to go there and tell jokes and pretend I don't hate Hull.
Oh, really? This is an unfortunate coincidence.
It's a very unfortunate coincidence.
It was Hull that it was 1-1?
It was Hull of the team above us who won.
Now you've got to go to Hull. I've never been to Hull. I don't know much about Hull, other than they've got white phone boxes. And when I lived in Edinburgh, there was a train to Hull, and it sounds a lot like hell, which just made me laugh a little bit. When they would go the 11:52 to hell, it's leaving out. And so that was a little bit of fun.
Well, I always, when I do gigs in Hull, I start by saying, hello.
That's a great start. That is a great start,
yeah.
And it doesn't work elsewhere.
It pretty much says what
You've
I do.
got a bigger chance of it working in Hull.
And then for the next week of gigs, I'll start by going, "Go, you think you've had a bad week? I went to Holland back on Monday." You see, which is another one. People are now texting in what are, let's be honest, violent excuses for failing their driving test. Pete texts in and says, I failed my driving test for being overcautious, as well as going through a red light and going over a zebra crossing while someone was on it. To be honest, Pete, I think that's probably why you failed, not the caution thing. My girlfriend Caroline had her test on Thursday. Her examiner asked her how she wanted to be addressed. She replied, your ladyship, and then failed. Again, I'm guessing you can't really fail for that. I'm sorry, I had one of those caramel shortbread things, and it's really repeating on me. I think it's the Earl Grey tea. Few more Am I Normals. Am I normal? On my way out of the bathroom at home, I turn the light on and off, even in the middle of the day. On the rare occasion that I forget, I'll go back and do the whole thing in the fear that it may have an adverse effect on my day. Matt in Somerset. I probably don't think it will. Michael?
Hello?
You drift away from the chair, and then you slide
I drift in and out. I have some things here which you've given me. Is my boyfriend normal? Is that all right to ask if other people are normal?
I think we can allow that.
We will allow it in this instance.
To save a relationship.
He insists on hairy armpits and smooth legs.
For her or for him?
Deviantly prescriptive.
If he's insisting that she grow her armpits and shave her legs, then that's probably not right. Although, to be fair, if he doesn't shave his armpits but shaves his legs, that's probably not right either. I
just don't think you could ever insist
How are they in a
on
relationship?
anything with regards to your partner.
How is a man who tells his girlfriend to shave, to grow her armpits or shaves his own legs in a relationship?
But I just would never, ever insist on anything to do with my wife. You know what I mean? You can't say, look, I want that toenail longer... You want to cut that one a bit more?
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
I'm going nose hair, one
big one, one massive one.
Obviously, I wasn't actually referring to her nose. I was thinking my own nose in this instance.
Oh, I see.
How's it going with you, nose hair? How's it going?
I'm clear, to be honest. Never had a problem with it.
Right.
Do you get it?
A little bit more.
Do you trim?
A little bit more. I'm a tugger. I know it's wrong.
Right.
And I know it really hurts. And it makes you cry for a little bit. But no, I just don't have time to trim. I don't really know. I think you need to get the special scissors that they have in, like, innovations magazines that come with the Sunday papers. Oh, there's actually a remove unwanted nose hair thing that zzz.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
No.
That's surely bringing razors, edges and electricity in a realm where they're just not needed.
Yeah.
I can do nose hair with
grab
scissors.
on, and I literally rip them out. And it really hurts for a second, but the results are marvellous. Or I will push back in and just try and deal with it that way until it really
just hiding
flows.
the problem.
But it's even in my ear a little bit now. And that never used to happen.
If you push them back in, one day you'll sneeze at dinner and a whole forest will fall out and dangle out of your nose where you've sort of weaved them back up into your nostrils.
And then when you realise them, you trace back your life and who you come in contact with, and you have to reassess what's actually happened, because everything that happened between you, they, in their mind, were thinking, that's gross. Because I know somebody who does literally just have one, and I don't know if they're growing it or what, but it's one, and it's now come over the top lip. It's getting involved with the mouth at this point. Very grim.
And it dances along, I bet, while they talk. Have they got any facial hair?
Not really. They're quite young, but it's just this one.
You've got to say something, Michael. Just have a word.
It's impossible. You can't say. The only thing I've considered doing is myself ripping it out. I thought, is there a way I could get to his face and just grab a hold of it? Because it's literally like a rope at this point.
If you walk along with him and do that thing where you sort of link arms with the sway of your natural rhythm, hold hands with him, but sort of really overswing on one and just grab his nostril.
And then on the way down, yank it like a chain.
Yeah, but he could come down with you there if it's attached.
Don't think I haven't thought of it. I will give that a go.
I'll send an anonymous text. I'll just say, listen, someone's had a word. It's someone you know. Yeah. They don't want to say anything, but I've been told to tell you, you have one massive nose hair.
They must know. This is what I don't understand about people, is that people who literally have unbelievable amounts of nose hair that competes with, where a moustache could be, where it blends in. They know that's going on. They look in mirrors. And why do they live their lives like that?
Maybe there are people who can't grow facial hair but really want to. Maybe these people want moustaches.
Is that the plan? They want to grow their nose hair and then sweep it onto their head to cover baldness.
Yeah.
It's very
and then attach it to the ear.
I feel very sorry for people because, hair, we've all got sort of an amount of hair. It's just not always in the places we want it.
Yeah. I hate my hair. It's so dense. It's really dense.
You've got great hair because you grow your hair out every once in a while, which I presume is to do with laziness over style, I'm thinking. And it just goes enormous.
Yeah, it's huge.
Because it's just curly, and it never drops.
I'm too nervous to go to the hairdressers. I can't be doing with that, because I know my hair's rubbish. So they look at me when I walk in, they go, what are you doing? What are you doing here? You don't belong here.
This is what I don't understand about hairdressers. Why do they ask you what you want? You're qualified in styling. I don't really know. Do you know, and they go, and so what do you want? I don't really know. You just cut it until you think I look good.
I liken them to mechanics. It's like taking your car in and them going, so what do you want me to do? Well, fix it, because it's broken, and that's what your field of expertise is. The touching, holding hand thing happened to me a few years ago, said Lucy. The girl who used to be my friend looked at me really weirdly and hasn't spoken to me again since. Well, that's taking it a bit... That's a bit far to lose friends over it. And I thought, girls hold hands anyway, don't they? And they kiss and...
Well, I was discussing this last week because I
they do on the films I watch.
Yeah, the girls kiss and hold. Yes, of course they do.
They're much
but this
more
arm linking thing. I want your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
I was with this girl that I didn't know very well in Edinburgh last year, and we were walking, and she, just as a tactile person, I think, arm linked.
Oh.
And we walked along arm linking, and I just thought, hang on a minute, if my wife saw this, I know that it's an innocent situation. We both know it, but I don't think I'm allowed to arm link. So I had to actually say, I'm sorry, but we can't arm link. I'm going to have to de-link. And then she kept trying to relink, but all I wanted to do was de-link because I was completely against the arm link. What do you feel about arm linking cross-gender?
If she's trying to relink, then you're correct in your assumption that she had ulterior motives. If she's trying to relink, because you've said, listen, lady, just back away from the linkage. So you're right there. Generally, yes, I'm against linking arm. It just makes me... I'm not a fan of physical contact. I'll say that now. Don't touch me.
What? Wait a minute. all round?
Generally, I very seldom need to be touched in everyday life. It's not something that I don't walk along the street thinking...
people you want to touch you. I mean, what upsets me is there are huggers. Men who you're not in a hug relationship with will hug you. There are comedians that do this, and I'm like, we don't have this relationship.
No.
We've not reached hug. We're at handshake.
Men handshake.
To be honest, I feel we're at wave. And you're hugging me? You're not a friend to me. Don't hug me.
What about kissing strangers who are women?
Yes,
why would I kiss you?
I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
Really?
Yes, I am, because I think men and women should kiss when they say hello.
I've no need for kissing you. I don't know who you are. I don't know I don't know what texture your face is going to have. What if it's wet?
What's wet?
Just kissing a stranger. What if their face was wet or furry?
I'm really worried about you, John, because I'm worried that your obsessive compulsion and the locking thing is actually going to start to interfere with...
I watched The Aviator this week about Howard Hughes. And that really touched a few nerves with me.
I can imagine.
I've never yet micturated in a milk bottle, but it's not far away.
Okay.
But I don't need to kiss women. Well,
What goes on here? John, are you single? Are you still single?
oh,
Is
God.
he single? Are
This
you
happens
single?
every week.
Are you single, Jon Richardson?
Yes.
We
But
need to sort
happy.
that out.
No, we don't.
No, we
Society
do.
thinks we need to sort it out, but we don't. I'll just happily walk. I just very seldom walking in town thinking I've got to get a coat, I've got to get some new shoes, and I must have physical contact with someone, otherwise I haven't had a good day. You've been pointed towards an email.
I know. I was in a flow, but here we are.
We're not.
Hull is like hell, says Lisa. She's there right now. She's moving to North London in 2 months and can't wait to leave Hull. She wants to know where you are tonight, and she wants to come and see you. She
Right.
wants to purchase tickets, and she's going to come and see you.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, this is all linking into the touch thing. I'm going to get touched by
So
strangers.
here we have, and now I'm sorry, now I see where you're going with this. We're not changing the subject at all. What we're doing
We're trying
is
to get
we're
me
going to help
touched up
you
at a gig.
get touched and enjoy it, like most of us do.
I will enjoy touching someone when there's prior warning. When I know someone...
You're not getting assaulted.
There's a point in a relationship when it becomes clear you're getting to the touching stage.
Yes.
And it's not straight away. It's not, hello, my name's... Just get off me now. It's later on when you've been out for dinner and you go... Do you fancy a little
So
bit
when
of-
you meet a girl in an ideal world,
Put a glove on and shake her hand.
so you're allowed to shake hands, but you have to be there need to be gloves involved.
I'll shake a raw hand, sure.
Well, so
I'm not a
there'll be a
weirdo.
designated meeting glove which you would have on your person.
Yes.
Which you would then take out, glove up, shake hands, nice to meet you, then
Yeah.
return the glove.
Yes. And then
Right,
just
to a
get,
little pouch.
just get a weapon out in case they go for too much, in case they try and link
I
on.
really, really, really hope that Lisa can change your ways.
I'm at the University of Hull tonight, so I don't know. I don't know if you can get tickets for that. I'm assuming it hasn't
You can
sold
get
out.
her in.
Oh,
If she brings a glove and comes up to you, will that be your ideal woman? Will you go, you know what, Lisa? Let's go out. Come around for dinner. Come round to my place and I'll lock you in.
Drive
And
all the way
78
from
blocks.
Hull to my house in Swindon and we'll have
She's
dinner.
moving to North London. That's
I don't live in
local.
North London.
But you can lunch after your
And
radio
then after
show.
the gig tonight, I have to go and decorate my nan's bathroom. So I have lots to do. I'm a very busy man. You come along, Lisa. I'll buy everyone at the gig a drink, but I just won't touch any of you. Someone's been on the webcam.
You'll have to. Oh, you're joking.
Oh, it's afternoon now. We're in the final
Yeah.
hour. It's
People
flown
get
by.
really upset when you get it wrong, don't they?
Yeah.
When it's just gone 12 and you go, good morning, they look at you like, you're mental.
Yeah.
It's, good afternoon, you're living in the past. Get with it. Time moves.
I'm so surprised, says Dee, that Mike McMazda, she's played with it a little bit.
She's obviously been listening to the whole show.
Yeah, as I have come to know him, wears glasses. He doesn't have the air of a glasses wearer. Please can you ask him if he's ever had to mend his glasses with a sticking plaster? These are the questions on the lips of Britain.
In the old, when I was younger, I really had no respect for my glasses, and I ended up with. I think I had one arm of my glasses for a lot, and I would just balance them because I'm one of those glasses where wears it. Well, I wear them a lot, but it used to be TV and driving.
Oh yeah,
When they
reading and stuff.
Yeah, reading. Well,
Yeah.
no, not reading. That's completely wrong.
All right.
That's long-sighted.
Right.
I was able to, when things are in close. But yeah, no, I ended up with just like one arm, and I would just balance them on my head. And I did, I sometimes sellotape them around my head. I just had no respect for my glasses. But listen, I don't always wear my glasses. When I'm performing, I'll take the glasses out, put the lenses in.
Right.
But, I see this as a chat between friends. And it's on the radio, you make no effort. I mean, if I'm brutally honest with you, I
You look
slept in
fine
this
this
t-shirt.
morning. You look good.
I put the jacket on, and that's upset people now.
What have you done?
Well, I slept in the t-shirt.
Oh, no,
I
that's
just
upset
jacketed
me.
up.
Oh, did you?
Well, it was quite early.
Just
and I
slip
thought,
a
I'll get
new
away with
t-shirt
this.
on.
But it's you've got to take advantage of the fact that it's radio.
I showered last night before bed. It always seems slightly futile to me, but because it wakes you up.
The shower does wake you up. That is a mistake.
Especially my new power shower, which
so
I
what, do you
can't
have a
enjoy.
shower and a coffee and read the paper and then go to bed?
And then I've already ticked that off my to-do list for the
Right,
next day.
okay.
I've started ahead. Someone emailed last week and said, I can't believe I had a power shower fit. They're so much worse for the environment, which I didn't know. And
Power shower is bad, is it?
Yeah, apparently it's worse than I can't enjoy. I've had about several showers this week. I can't enjoy any of them because I'm sat there thinking, oh god, I'm
Is that
killing
just because it's
hedgehogs.
using more water?
I don't know. I assumed I was using less because it's coming straight off my boiler now. I don't have a separate system for it.
But now-
and the showers are quicker because the
I
power
can't
is
stand
immense.
showers. I'd like bars. I don't want to be standing up. But I just want to relax at any given moment. And I can't be standing. The bar's great. You can lie down,
Oh, but a bath's a faff,
read
isn't
the
it?
paper.
Do you have bubbles?
Of course I have bubbles.
You have to have
kidding?
bubbles, otherwise you're a pervert.
You can't have bubbles.
But it's a real to-do, isn't it, running a bath? It's a real bind. And they're terrible for the environment.
Why can't somebody invent something that gives you the temperature that you want? I can't get
the thermometer.
Yeah, why can't we just press a button on our baths and get our personal bath temperature? I'm
Because
always
it's
fiddling around, too
2007.
hot, too cold, moving it around with my arms in there. I just need to push a button. I know there are more.
This laziness thing is becoming more and more to the fore, isn't it? I just want to press a button and be clean and relaxed.
As long as I don't end up with one of those baths, the walk-in baths.
Oh,
Have you ever known
how
anyone
do
who
they
has one of
work?
these?
How do they? Surely the water comes
sit
out.
in it naked.
Oh, that's
I think
horrible.
you have to be an old. You don't have to be old, but I think mainly people aren't that lazy. And what do they call them? Walk-in baths, isn't that right?
That's got to be one of the most degrading
And then you have to wait, because otherwise if you open the door, all the water flies out.
Just sitting there.
Which normally will then flow on the stairs, and there'll be somebody...
I'd never thought that through before.
That'll interfere with the stair lift. But yeah, so I suppose you've got to sit in it, then you've got to let all the water out.
Yeah, so we're taking
Freezing.
old and frail people and saying, why don't you just sit in the cold until all this water has dripped away, and so has your dignity. I'm going to invent a new
one of those
bath.
baths with you'll have locks on the doors. You'll have to sit relocking or locking the door.
Well, I bathe in a scuba suit because you kind of have to, really, don't you?
Does anybody want to touch you? There's a few.
You've ruined this gig now, because now loads of people have texted in and say, I'll come and touch me.
But John, I want this to happen for you.
Yeah, but I don't want it to happen for me. You're always trying to run my life, Michael.
Yes, I am trying to run your life because I don't. You know, I've spoken to you a few times, and every time I have to ask you what you're up to because it always makes me laugh. And you'll say something like, "I'm gardening. I've got my gardening gloves on." You're a young man.
I gigged with a comic this week who his first thing he said to me is, "You're still doing all that single? You're still not doing any of that?" Well, that's not a way to start a conversation. Put your glove on, shake my hand, and then we can talk. Oh dear. So yeah,
there's got to be a girl out there sitting in a heavily locked home, wearing gloves,
in a high security
If
unit.
I can just get to him, he's the man of my dreams.
But I can't be with someone who's like me. I have to be with someone who isn't.
I see a romantic comedy coming along here. I see an
that's right.
OCD rom-com.
Someone, Mike, sent in a cracking email the other week saying, instead of the OC, why don't you do the OCD?
It's
just with a
nice.
load of teenagers around the house, but they never leave and they never have parties because of the mess.
Probably not as entertaining.
Yeah, it's a one-shot joke, I think.
Yeah.
A 10-minute
Basically what
episode.
it's a text.
Yeah.
That's the limit to its media possibilities.
But a funny text.
It is a funny text.
Right, we'll wrap up something else, and then it's 100% belter time. Someone, Hugo, always nice to receive an email from a Hugo.
Rare. Or a Nathan.
In Stoke New... Oh, Nathan, I used to know a Nathan, who went to school with Goldie Looking Chain. Actually, chaps, the sat-nav is right. Car speedos are set around 10% higher than real speeds. This is an urban myth as well, I'm sure, because they say, you can do 10% over through speed cameras and police traps, but surely the police know they're set over as well, so they know to expect a little bit more.
You can definitely do a few miles an hour over speed camera.
But I
Did
never
you know
understood.
this? And I'd like to ask our listeners who have answers.
Another
for these.
question for the nation from Michael
Here's the question for the
McIntyre.
nation. Pay and displays, parking meters,
Yes.
are 2 minutes fast.
Right.
So actually, even if you show up to your car 2 minutes early, you're already late. You can get a ticket.
Well, there have been new laws released this week to say that for private car park owners, you have to give people 10 minutes leeway now. You're not allowed, because all these dodgy car park owners have been flying in, and the second you're late, clamping your car and charging you like 200 quid.
Have
So
you
they
ever
are
had to sit
changing all
outside the
that.
congestion charge until it goes 6:30?
I don't drive into London.
Oh, it's great.
I can't
Basically,
be
what you've
driving in
got
London.
at about 6:29, all around the congestion charge are people who literally stop their cars and put their hazards on and just sit there on the pavement. No one wants to go through because it's £8 to go through.
Yeah.
So all traffic stops. Instead of people cutting in front of you, people cutting behind you. People are going
Shunting
really
you
slowly.
forward.
They're trying to time it, and then one of them goes, and everyone goes, "It's time!" And then suddenly we're all in.
Oh, you see, that's the fun of London. Emails coming in. I just thought I'd let you know, Michael, that temperature-controlled baths are available and are already very popular with the elderly.
Cool.
And Sandra in London, one of your lot, says, "Cheers, fellas. There I was lying in the bath, relaxing, listening to you and all, and you've ruined it. Now I can't enjoy my first bath of the week, showers the rest of the time, because I feel too guilty about the environment." So we've ruined a bath. Now, we also had another text in saying, "John, do you really mean that if you came to the gig, you wouldn't shake my hand without a glove?" And that was from Lisa, who I believe now is on the line. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Lisa. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Who are you?
I'm all right. I'm clearly mental. Michael's here. Would you like to say hello to Michael?
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Lisa.
Now, Michael, do you want to lead this? Because you've set all this up with the nation thinking I would shake a naked hand. I'll say that now. I would shake a naked hand.
But the way that you see it as naked.
Yeah.
That you look at people with their hands and you go, you're naked. Look at you in public with your naked hands. So, Lisa, you're in Hull, are you?
Yes, I am.
So,
Well, just outside, yeah.
but
Beverly?
Not quite Beverly, no. A place called Anlaby.
Right.
Barton?
No, not that far.
Okay.
That's on the other side of the river.
So, look, all I want to do is maybe just ask a little bit about yourself, Alexa. Are you currently in a relationship?
No.
Brilliant.
I'm going to let you go with this for a while, Michael, but be aware I'm on your mic.
Which box would you tick if you were being asked your age? I'm going to give you quite broad options. 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and then I think the last one, temperature-controlled bath.
20 to 30.
Get in, John!
Why are you doing this to me, Michael?
Because
This was
Lisa
supposed to
wants
be-
to touch you, and
Now-
I'm worried about you.
Let's widen this out because, to be honest, I'm uncomfortable with this aspect. This was supposed to be an argument between you and someone called Drew in Weymouth, who texted in to say you're quite right. Being touched by people is a bad thing unless you're in a proper relationship. Are you touchy-feely, Lisa?
Not especially, but it's nice every now and again.
Oh, so uncomfortable with this. Seemed like a good idea. How many friends are in the circle that you would touch on a regular basis, that you would hold hands with walking down the street, that you'd link up with in a bar, that you'd playfully kick?
Well, not that excessively. We'll hug each other.
Right. On initial meeting and then maybe once again at the end?
Yeah, maybe a kiss on the cheek.
Right. But then do you got left and right, or just left, or right?
No, just one side.
But which one? What if you go for the wrong one and it's a full lip kiss then?
Yeah, it does. You get stuck right in the middle.
Well, I saw my friends last night, and it was the their left. No, they're right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that's. I think you
In
let
France,
them lead.
it's 4. You do 4 kisses when you meet people.
See, that's ridiculous.
It is. Well, it used to be 2, then it was 3. Now it goes up, like the budget.
In the time it's taken you to kiss a friend, you've been stung to death by a massive wasp. It just doesn't make any sense. Well, thanks for joining in, Lisa. Are you doing anything? Are you coming to the gig then?
Well, I don't know. I might do. if you'll shake my hand.
I'll shake hands. I'm a fully
have to bring a
socialised
glove?
being. I will shake hands, I'll nod, I'll smile, I'll sometimes raise an eyebrow. I'm a fully functioning
Do you
human.
have any gloves, Lisa, just in case?
Only like winter woolly gloves. It's a bit warm for that now.
John, would you tolerate those gloves with the fingers poking out?
I tell you what, since we've got all afternoon, you can make some gloves out of cling film at home. Don't do any of this. Well, maybe I'll see you later on. How are we ending this, Michael? How is this conversation going to end? You've
I want
got a
Lisa
wife.
to show up at the gig covered in cling film from head to toe.
Health and safety.
And then you will live happily ever after.
Right, if Lisa comes dressed in cling film and suffocates, that'll make me happy.
Yes.
Well, then at least I'll stand
No.
out.
You certainly will. I don't know much about Hull. Maybe that's de rigueur. We had an angry text in from someone saying, stop doing the Hull hell jokes. I'm not going to. And now I'm going to do them twice as much at the gig. Well, thanks for joining in, Lisa. Are you doing anything this afternoon?
No, as little as possible.
Right. Are you going to have any tea?
My mum's
I
cooking
can't
tea,
talk
so
to
that'll be
women.
nice.
I was talking to a woman at a gig this week in Halifax, and within about 30 seconds of talking to her, I'd asked her if she'd cut someone's face off and stuck it onto her own. That's how bad I am at talking to women.
I want to just try it with Lisa. Just
You're
for a
allowed
bit.
to ask if a woman's having tea.
Yes, you are. It's going. I thought it was going quite well.
What are you having for your tea?
I don't know yet.
Right.
No, but John sounds like a good cook.
I used to be a chef. 3 years. The Rodney Hotel, head chef. Assistant head chef.
You're doing really well. You're showing things that you've done, achievements.
We won't go into the depths of the fact that I was assistant head chef because the alcoholic chef I worked with used to cry every morning and drink wine from the bottle. Well, maybe I'll see you later on, and everyone else in Hull. Thanks for joining in. See, this feels like I feel like I've let the woman down now.
No, you've got to stop.
Has this been
being
all
like
right,
that.
Lisa?
I think Lisa really likes you. She wants you to cook for her. She wants to get to know you. She's got an open diary for you to fill. You're heading in her direction after the show. She's between 20 and 30. What more do you want?
I don't know. This is terrible. Well, I don't know. How do we end these? Adam, you've worked in radio. What do I do now?
Probably play a record. Say goodbye.
Say goodbye, thank the lady, and then we're not playing the song. Are we playing Amy Winehouse? Are we? Well, speaking of failed relationships with women, I'll buy you, what's your favourite drink if you come to the gig? This is a close, isn't it? Now this looks like I'm chatting you up now.
That's what. Yeah, but this is what you need practicing.
It's not. I'm happy. I've got Sky Plus.
What's your favourite drink? You don't want to say that. You want to say, "Can I get you a drink?"
Yeah.
What's your favourite drink?
You are going to need to be a drinker. A double what?
You are going to need to be a drinker.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I'll see you at the gig. We'll speak later on, unless you don't come to the gig, in which case I will take that as a drastic judgment of my ability to talk to anyone. Amy Winehouse coming up, and then I'll never talk to anyone ever again. It's Jon Richardson on Six Music, sitting in for Russell Howard, who we're hoping to hear from after his last gig in Melbourne, before he goes on tour across Australia. I am in the studio with the fine Michael McIntyre.
Hey, John.
Oh, nice. Now, text coming in. Lots of stuff coming in about Speedos and how it is true that the 10% is allowed. So you're allowed to be 10% over.
All right, speed cameras.
But there's a reason they leave that 10%. I don't really understand. Some nice belter feedback. Someone says, usually I make a cup of tea during the 100% belter, but this week was a classic. Someone who went outside and listened to it in their garden said it was much nicer for being outside. Someone says, John, I got stung on the tongue by a wasp. It was hiding in the creamy head of my pint of Guinness. Ooh. I lose about 4 pints a year to wasps, where they land on my pint and I have to run away, and I can't finish the drink because they've touched the glass. It took so long for me to wonder what was in my mouth before it struck. My friends made me go to hospital in case my tongue swelled up. I then had to suffer the further indignity of having an injection in my bum. I'm not entirely sure that was related to the wasp, to be honest. I don't see how they're related, but Joe says wasps are sneaky creatures. Now, a text coming in from Lucy. She says, you have the same problem I have. I have several problems, Lucy. You've just picked one of them that we share. I was in a bar last night, and a guy came over to me, and after introducing ourselves, we sat in complete silence, and in the end, I just turned my chair round and ignored him. I'm so socially inept. What do men want to talk about? I don't know. I want to talk about what you had for your tea, football.
I think you just
are you an
naturally
alcoholic?
If you're gonna get on with somebody, you're gonna not have to think about what to say. Obviously, Lucy was not destined to be with the guy who she's ended up actually having to turn away from.
But what if they're in a really loud... This is what fascinates me. What I hate about clubbing culture is that you can't possibly have spoken to the person you're eating. And now you're all over each other. And how can you hear people...
eating?
Yeah, they're all over
each other. You just say you can't possibly speak to the people you're eating.
They're mouthing blah, blah, blah. Horrible.
I think it's probably set up a bit like that. I think it's quite nice to not hear... I think it's all right having to shout. You have to get in close, which I'm sure you love.
Yeah.
And then
that's
you want
nice.
to go out for conversation.
A particularly mundane comment about the music, and now I've got your spit in my ear. Well, we are having a lovely time. So I can't speak for all men, Lucy. Generally, I talk about food, I'll talk about sport, I'll talk about alcohol. Michael, you've snared one. You've got a woman. How did you do that?
Took a while. Took a while.
What do you like? If a woman came over to you in the bar, you see, I can't be doing with...
A woman, no, this has never happened. I have never seduced a woman, so you're really asking the wrong person. In the instance of my wife, we knew each other for years.
Right,
before
you see.
I broke her down in a series of stalking I've never... this is why it's like, she has no worries that I would ever cheat on her. Because I just wouldn't be able to. It would take me 2 years to seduce somebody else. I don't have time.
That's reassuring. You see, that's what relationships are about. Being stuck with each other. That is what relationships are about, isn't it? But you're happy as well, and you've got a kid.
Yeah, I'm happy. We've got a child.
Yeah,
he's brilliant.
Good.
And this is what I want you to have. I know you don't want it yet, John.
I'm only young.
I know, but sooner or later, I think these are the things that you need to. You will be.
Yeah, they're on the
embracing.
to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, more pressing matters. Use up that chicken that's in the fridge.
Exactly.
Otherwise it goes off. I can't abide waste.
But it is difficult. Do you want to role play? Do you want to see how it goes?
So I can't talk to a real woman.
Do you want to try and
now I'm
seduce
going
me?
to talk to you, putting on a high-pitched voice as if that's going to make it easier. I'd hate to roleplay that with you, Michael.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The worst case scenario is that it would be bad, and even worse than that is that it would work.
I once went out with a girl, and I went out with very few. But this was one that I was actually she definitely liked me. I had it from numerous sources. I couldn't get it in writing.
You've got to get it in writing.
I did fax and insisted and I took legal advice, but I couldn't get it in writing. But plenty of people said that there were comments made that I was superbly in here. It culminated in her actually paying me to leave. She paid for my taxi. She gave me £10 and said, "Why don't you just go?" And I was like, "What's this for?" She said, "Your taxi." She paid for my taxi to leave her life.
I think that's better than her not paying for a taxi.
I suppose. I mean,
worst thing is being besmirched.
I took the cash. I thought, fine, I made a bit because the cab was only about £8.
Cashback.
So
you should have more unsuccessful relationships. You just go from town to town disappointing women.
It's not a good sign, that.
Where have you come from? Miles away. This is going to cost you because I am dull.
I always ended up being also with people. Well, you're friends with Russell. He's one of your best friends.
Yes.
I can imagine he's a bit of a one with the ladies. He's cute.
Oh, he's too good looking.
See, that's not what you want.
He's so good looking. They're scared to come up to him.
Too good looking,
right?
And I couldn't. That was just a real trouble. We went away once for 3 months,
up on
travelling, and he pulled on the plane on the way there. He went off to the loo and didn't come back. And I was like, "Where have you been?" He had seduced someone on the way to the loo and then taken her with him, and then it was like that for the rest of the trip.
He'll never find true happiness.
Well, I don't know what's happened to him, but I've got true happiness. But I think you want to hang around with really unattractive people. That helps.
Right.
I think. I can only imagine.
Right. Well, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to talk to a woman every week now until I'm good at it. So next week I'm joined by Alan Carr, who I'm sure can teach me how to seduce a lady. No.
Okay.
For the same reasons. I'm vulnerable to roleplay. I love a roleplay.
Okay.
In French orals, I got very angry because I couldn't actually buy the products that were on offer from my teacher. I stormed out of my oral. But you've just sold me a coffee. Where's the coffee? So we're not going to... But I will... maybe we'll... If you want to be next week's awkward conversation, then email russell.sixmusic@bbc. We'll put something up on the website, the picture of me being stoned by a load of women, just for having said something inappropriate, because there was an over-long silence. And we'll do that every week. A news story I wanted to talk about, which I don't know if you heard about. We usually do a feature about good deeds, that people have tried to do nice things that have backfired. And there was a massive one in the press this week. Sainsbury's issued their new bags. Did you see those?
Don't they have something written on them?
They said, "I'm not a plastic bag."
Well, that's okay.
Which, stating the obvious, I'm all for labelling, right? But this was a nice environmental thing. They said, buy these bags, don't use the supermarket ones. And they got an absolute slating in the press this week, because the press have said, oh, well, the thing about these bags is they were so designer that the women were driving to Sainsbury's in their 4x4s to buy these bags, right? And they didn't source them properly, they didn't find out where the cotton came from. And the worst thing, the people that bought them didn't want to get them dirty, so they took them home in a plastic bag.
I heard this, and I didn't know I thought it was a joke.
Now,
so they actually got, because there's always a drama when you buy a bag, and then wherever you're buying a bag, and they will ask you if you want a bag.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I've just got a bag. But then you don't know whether... Have you ever bought a bag and other stuff? Do you put the stuff you've just bought in the bag?
I think if they say, do you want a bag, you should just say, no, give me some stuff. And then see if they give you some stuff to put in the bag. But I got really angry that they had to go, because that's nothing to do with the supermarket. That's people being idiots. So I just think it's a nice move. Let's all be more environmental.
It is wrong to get a bag. If you're supposed to do an environmental thing, to get a bag and then to put it in another bag. What I like is when you get black bags, and it comes to there's that little bit of wrapping on the black bag. So you take you unwrap that, then you take the black bag out, and that's your first bit of rubbish. Is the bit that you unwrapped it, and you have to put that bit of rubbish into the black bag that you've just... And that's always the first bit of rubbish that goes into any black bag. On a new...
And then a tea bag, because you're so tired you have to sit down and have a cup of tea. We've come to the end of the show. We are trying to get hold of TV, radio and society's Russell Howard, but it looks like we might be fighting a losing battle there. What we'll do is I will once again try and pest him to record a travel diary on the internet, which you will be able to get through the website. Everything we do on the show you'll be able to find through the website. It's been an absolute delight having you here, Michael McIntyre.
Thanks, John. I've really enjoyed it.
I hope so. I've learnt a lot about myself.
I want to wish you good luck.
Thanks very much.
In Hull.
Yeah.
Good luck with Lisa, or whoever it may be.
And beyond. And you are appearing at the Soho Theatre soon.
Yeah, that's the 8th to the 12th of May.
Round about 8th to the 12th of May, isn't it? Michael McIntyre at the Soho Theatre.
Come on
I
now.
thought you were talking... Yeah, come. Michael's amazing at stand-up. He'll make you laugh more than you've ever laughed before, unless you listen to this show, in which case probably marginally less. Because maybe I'll just come along and be awkward. And just point at a woman and just cry. But it's been a pleasure having you here. Thanks for your company.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, and thank you to you all for your texts and emails and all the stuff you've sent in. Keep an eye on the website. That's where we update with what's coming up for the next week. And I hope you have a fantastic week. I'm delighted to say that we're playing out with Jeff Buckley and Lover You Should Have Come Over. One of the best songs, one of my favourite song lyrics of all time. So I hope you enjoy this. Have a cracking week. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
BBC 6 Music.